Sule Lamido alleges discrimination as tension mounts in PDP chairmanship race. Resident doctors set to down tools, begin indefinite nationwide strike. 30 months on, Nigerians weigh gains and gaps of CNG conversion. And on the foreign scene, Cameroon's Paul Biya declared winner amid deadly protest. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. We begin tonight with political matters. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has postponed the screening of aspirants for its 2025 elective national convention earlier scheduled for Tuesday, October 28. A development comes amid growing internal tension over the contest for the position of national chairman. The report.
The People's Democratic Party says the screening of aspirants for its upcoming national convention will no longer hold as planned. Chairman of the National Convention Organizing Committee and Governor of Adamawa State, Ahmadu Fintiri, announced the suspension of the exercise, citing what is described as unforeseen circumstances. The postponement comes just hours after fresh controversy rocked the party following former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido's declaration to contest for the national chairmanship position. Lamido, who stormed the PDP national headquarters in Abuja, accused some national officers of frustrating his efforts to obtain the nomination form.
We have seen the whole procedure and system of doing things. Why the rush? Why the kind of, this, funny kind of thing? It's a family thing, for God's sake. All right? I can only be screened if I buy the form. I cannot buy the form, which is supposed to by the NOS, and it's locked up. I went to the secretary of the party. He said, no idea why the form has been sold. I said, they are now under custody of the governor of Adamawa State. So for me to buy the form to go to Adamawa.
Meanwhile, former Minister of Special Duties, Kabiru Tanimu Turaki, has successfully submitted his nomination and expression of interest forms at the party's convention secretariat in Abuja. Turaki, who enjoys the backing of several northern governors and key stakeholders, is being projected as the consensus candidate for the job. However, not all members agree with the endorsement. Factions loyal to Sule Lamido and former Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike have rejected the move, insisting that there was no proper consultation.
The form itself for nomination. This is my nomination form. In line with the guidelines of our party, I've attached certified true copies of all my credentials as required by the guidelines. This is it. Congratulations.
I received these ones from the Harbor of the National Working Committee of our Great Party, the People's Democratic Party. I hereby receive these forms from His Excellency and the incoming National Chairman.
The party's screening committee, chaired by former Ondo State governorship candidate Ita Ojegede, is expected to vet all aspirants ahead of the convention scheduled for November 15th and 16th in Ibadan, Oyo State. As the PDP navigates through these internal disputes, political observers say the outcome of the forthcoming convention will determine the strength and unity of the main opposition party ahead of the 2027 general elections.
Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has revealed that he is under intense pressure from political stakeholders to defect from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the All Progressives Congress (APC). Speaking at an event held in the banquet hall of the Government House, Jos, the governor dismissed the speculations affirming his loyalty to the PDP. Mutfwang, who is seeking re-election in 2027, said only God and the people of Plateau, who entrusted him with their mandate, can influence his political direction. He emphasized that leadership should be guided by conviction and service, not political expediency or pressure. His remarks follow recent denials by APC stakeholders in Plateau, who refuted claims that Mutfwang was planning to defect to their party. The governor's firm stance has been interpreted by observers as an effort to consolidate his political base ahead of the next election cycle.
But I told them, only two people will authorize me to change party. One is the God of heaven. The other is you people.
Have you asked me to go anywhere? No. Have you asked me to go anywhere? No. So those who are rejecting me for what I did not look for, you know, they are doing a useless exercise. And they are only hiding their desire. They are only hiding their desire. The truth is that 60-70% of the people in APC on the Plateau, I make bold to say, they will be glad to have us in their party. It's just that they are biting their finger.
Still talking politics, the crisis rocking the Kaduna State chapter of the African Democratic Congress ADC has taken a new turn as the party's national leadership has appointed former Minister of Finance Senator Nadi Usman as coalition chairman to oversee party affairs in the state. Addressing a press conference, the national vice chairman northwest of the party, Jafar Sani, said the ADC is focused on uniting opposition leaders in Kaduna on the one platform to strengthen democracy and political inclusion. The report.
Sani alleged that the ruling All Progressives Congress APC is attempting to infiltrate and undermine the unity of opposition parties in the state, but that the ADC will resist such moves.
That as part of the initiative to infiltrate and undermine the unity of opposition political leaders, some mercenary politicians have sponsored some willing tools to institute a court case against some of the leaders of the coalition, including Malam Nasir Ahmed Rufai, Malam Jafar Sani, National Vice Chairman Northwest, that's my humble self.
He further disclosed that coalition leaders have unanimously resolved to blacklist expelled members who initiated a court case against one of the party's national leaders, Nasir Rufai.
Being leaders of the coalition who have committed themselves to reorganizing the ADC with the objective of mobilizing the people of Kaduna State to unite to end the current hopeless APC regime of tyranny. Having reviewed all the developments within the ADC and the coalition in the state, we hereby endorse the decision of the ADC State Working Committee under the most able leadership of Elder Patrick Didam Ambut to expel the Deputy Chairman, Alhaji Ahmed Tijani Mustafa.
Meanwhile, the party has also appointed former Kaduna State Commissioner for Finance, Bashir Saidu, as co-chairman of the coalition in the state. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
Away from political matters, the National Association of Resident Doctors has announced plans to begin an indefinite strike starting Saturday after what it described as the government's failure to meet long-standing demands. Chiamaka Nweke now reports.
At the end of its extraordinary National Executive Council meeting held on Saturday, October 25th, the association expressed frustration over what it called the government's continued neglect of its legitimate concerns. NAD said it had shown good faith by suspending its 5-day warning strike in September and extending its 2-week ultimatum by another 30 days, but the patience has now run out. The association lamented that the federal government has yet to implement any of the 19-point demand agreed upon at its annual general meeting.
The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors hereby declares a total, comprehensive, and indefinite strike commencing at 12 a.m. midnight on Saturday, 1st November 2025. All resident doctors in federal and state tertiary health institutions nationwide are directed to withdraw their services completely and indefinitely until the federal government and affected state governments demonstrate genuine commitment to addressing our demands.
The president of the association said this is the first time in 3 years NAD is considering a total shutdown, despite several rounds of dialogue with the government. He stated that the unresolved issues include the payment of 25 to 35% conmen's review and upgrade arrears for all health workers, estimated at about 35 to 38 billion naira, and accoutrement allowances for doctors totaling between 600 and 800 million naira.
Senator Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I'm doing this at great personal risk. You are surrounded by politicians who come to tell you they are professionals. They are not. They are politicians with ambitions. They come to tell you, these resident doctors, leave these boys, they don't know what they are talking about. We have settled their problem. Our problem have not been settled. Mr. President, you are presiding over a nation where doctors have not received their rightful due even before you became president. And then these people are coming to you to tell you, these boys, don't mind them, don't mind them. I'm doing this at great personal risk. They are lying to you.
Dr. Suleiman appealed to President Bola Tinubu to urgently intervene and address the association's demands to prevent the planned strike and the possible collapse of healthcare services across the country. Chiamaka Nwike, Trust TV News.
Following an indefinite strike embarked on by the Judiciary Staff Union in Kaduna State. The industrial action, according to the union, follows what they described as the government's failure to meet their long-standing demands. According to the union, the indefinite strike commenced after they submitted several correspondences to the state government over 2 weeks ago without receiving any response. Trust TV's Bedla Musa reports that as the strike began, courts across the state remained on the lock and key. The report.
This is the Kaduna State High Court complex. No court proceedings are taking place. Neither court staff, lawyers, nor clients are seen within the premises. Following the indefinite strike by members of the Judiciary Staff Union. According to the union, the strike became necessary after repeated efforts to get the government to meet their demands yielded no results.
Firstly, financial autonomy, which will go a long way in solving most of the problems. 2, consequential adjustment of the earlier negotiated minimum wage. 3, you could recall that we had a nationwide strike around April, May 2021. All other states complied with that strike and they were all paid accordingly, but coming to Kaduna State, we were not paid. Thirdly, government are owing us 9-month leave grants. We are also expecting our ROB allowances for entire judiciary staff.
The union stated that despite exhausting all available channels of communication, their efforts have been futile as there has been no official response from the government.
We've submitted correspondences to the government over 2 years ago, several of them. Unfortunately, we've never gotten reply to any of them. We are very supportive of this government. It is our government and we are for the government. But unfortunately, we have to go on this strike which kick-started effectively early hours of today.
The union added that the strike is being fully complied with across Kaduna State and that it will be called off immediately once the government meets their demands. Bedla Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Residents along the Maraburg-Ankara Dusamak-Asina Road have raised alarm over the suspension of a major road rehabilitation project, accusing presidential aide Ibrahim Kabir Masari and Governor Dukko Umar Radda of influencing the contract's cancellation. Communities including Ergoje, Tudu and Entomaki described the decision as politically motivated, lamenting that it has left one of Katsina's busiest highways in deplorable condition. The 147.6 billion naira project, awarded to Vipan Global Investment Resources Limited in April 2024, was reportedly halted after the Federal Ministry of Works ordered the firm to vacate the site in July, citing a lack of funds. Residents, however, dismissed the ministry's explanation, alleging that political rivalry between ruling and opposition figures was behind the move. They claim the contractor was targeted for alleged links to the People's Democratic Party (PDP). They warned that the development could undermine the popularity of the APC and affect President Bola Tinubu's 2027 re-election bid, given Katsina's large voter base. Community leaders described the abandoned road as a disaster in waiting, saying the decision has worsened insecurity, disrupted trade, and hindered agricultural activities in the state. Human rights activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore has regained his freedom after meeting bail conditions granted by a magistrate court in Kuje, Abuja. Sowore was released alongside Nnamdi Kanu's special counsel, Aloy Ejimako, Kanu's younger brother, Prince Emmanuel Kanu, and 11 other protesters who were detained by the police over the Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest held in Abuja last week. The protesters were arraigned on Friday before Magistrate Abubakar Umar Said on charges of unlawful assembly and disturbance of public peace. In his ruling, Magistrate Said granted each defendant 500,000 naira bail, requiring them to present a verified national identification number along with 3-year tax clearance certificates and international passports. Following the perfection of their bail terms, the detainees were released from the Kuje Correctional Center on Monday. Sowore's arrest last Thursday reportedly occurred shortly after he left the Federal High Court in Abuja, where he had attended another proceeding. Meanwhile, sources at the Kuje facility confirmed that an awaiting trial inmate identified as Dung Bulus Pam died overnight from an undisclosed ailment. The same police prosecutor, Musa Adama, who handled the protesters' case, was said to have arraigned the deceased inmate. Ejimako and the others were arrested and allegedly manhandled by police during the peaceful Free Nnamdi Kanu protest last Monday in Abuja.
I can't be banding words with the IGP, who I know is no longer in the police force. And you cannot be IGP if you are not in the police force. And they understand it. That's why they lose their mind. So I have been through about 7 presidents in my lifetime since probably more now, since 1992. Several police IGPs, and some of them I've had to help in the course of some of them I had to assist where they were even still serving. Yes. So these are not issues that bothers me a lot. Anybody who is doing what we do knows that your second vacation home is prison.
Okay, the service chiefs, I need.
The detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, on Monday abandoned his earlier plan to call witnesses in his ongoing trial before the Federal High Court in Abuja. Kanu is being prosecuted on 7 counts of terrorism charges brought against him by the federal government. On Friday, Kanu had prayed the court for an adjournment after informing the trial judge, Justice James Omotosho, that his former legal team, led by a former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Kanu Agabi-san, had yet to release his case file to him. Meanwhile, Kanu had earlier expressed his readiness to open his defense in a written application to the court, in which he indicated his intention to call witnesses and requested the issuance of witness summons. However, at the resumed hearing on Monday, Kanu told the court that upon reviewing the case file, he had concluded that there was no valid charge against him. Kanu also criticized what he described as biased media reporting of his ongoing trial and the situation in the southeast, saying the truth will always prevail no matter how long it takes. He accused some sections of the media of misrepresenting facts and promoting false narratives about his case and the activities of IPOB.
Where's the lying news agency of Nigeria? Are they here? Those liars and deceivers, are they here? That distort the news. You don't know what law is. You don't know what justice is. Where's the news agency of Nigeria? What are they? You don't know that God is a God of justice. You don't know that? That God in heaven is a God of justice. You don't know that?
The High Court of the Federal Capital Territory FCT sitting in Maitama, Abuja, has adjourned to December 1st the hearing of a preliminary objection filed by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan in her ongoing defamation trial. Justice Chizoba Oji fixed the new date on Monday after the prosecution, led by David Kaswe from the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, informed the court that it had filed but not yet served its response to the defendant's objection. Senator Akpoti Uduohan, representing Kogi Central, was arraigned on June 19th on a 3-count charge of harmful imputation for allegedly making statements that damaged the reputations of Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. The prosecution accused her of claiming that Akpabio and Bello plotted to kill her and of making further remarks linking Akpabio to the death of the late Iniobong Omoren, allegations the senator denies. She pleaded not guilty to all charges when first arraigned before the court. The matter was adjourned for the hearing of her preliminary objection, in which she is challenging the competence of the charges and the jurisdiction of the court to entertain them. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Monday met with the newly appointed service chiefs at the State House, Abuja, marking their first official engagement since their appointment last Friday. The service chiefs, led by the new Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, who previously served as Chief of Army Staff, arrived at the presidential villa at about 3:55 p.m. before proceeding to the president's office for the closed-door meeting. Although details of the meeting were not disclosed, presidency sources said it had provided an opportunity for the president to interact one-on-one with the new military leaders and brief them on his expectations regarding national security. The swearing-in and decoration of the appointees with their new ranks are expected to take place after Senate confirmation in line with constitutional requirements. Upon confirmation, the CDS will be decorated as a full general, while the service chiefs will attain the rank of lieutenant general or equivalent in the Navy and Air Force. President Tinubu had on Friday announced major changes in the military hierarchy, appointing Lieutenant General Oluyede as Chief of Defense Staff, replacing General Christopher Musa, alongside other new service chiefs whose names have been forwarded to the Senate for screening. Now, President Tinubu's recent shake-up of the service chiefs may come at a steep cost, both financially and operationally. The move has triggered the compulsory retirement of hundreds of senior military generals, raising questions about the loss of experience, institutional memory, and the billions of naira required to settle their entitlement. Abdullahi Ahmed explains.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's reshuffle of Nigeria's security chiefs may cost the country billions of naira and a huge loss of military excellence. The move has triggered a wave of retirements across the Nigerian armed forces. Sources say more than 60 generals from courses 39, 40, and even some from 41 of the Nigerian Defense Academy are set to bow out, many voluntarily. That's not just a routine transition. It is an exit of some of the military's best trained minds. These are officers with years of combat, strategy, and foreign training experience. Their departure drains institutional memory and weakens command depth at a time Nigeria is still battling insurgents, bandits, and separatist threats. Now, let's talk money. Each retiring service chief will drive away with a bulletproof SUV and a Prado Jeep. Both will be replaced every 4 years. They'll keep 5 domestic workers, 9 guards, 3 drivers, and get $20,000 every year for medical expenses. Others in lower ranks will get smaller but still hefty packages, all backed by the new harmonized terms of service signed by the president. But here's the hard truth. Soldiers on the front line still feed on allowances that barely reach 4,000 naira, living in poor camps and most times buy their own supplies. That's the same army where generals retire into luxury. This isn't just inequality, it's a security risk, according to most experts. When morale collapses, discipline follows. You can't win wars with hungry soldiers watching their commanders leave in convoys of SUVs. Globally, military retirement systems focus on pensions and continuity, not lifetime perks and guards. So, is this international best practice? Well, the simple answer is no. It's privilege over performance and comfort over capacity. In the end, Nigeria's military faces a twin loss, both money and manpower. Because when the best brains leave and the rest lose faith, the real battle is already slipping away.
In other news, the Adara Development Association, ADA, has raised alarm over what it described as renewed and coordinated banditry attacks on Adara communities in Kachia and Kajuru local government areas of Kaduna State, calling for urgent intervention from the Nigerian government, international community, and human rights organizations. In a statement signed by Comrade Livinus Paul Jato, the ADA's publicity secretary, the group said the situation had degenerated into a full-blown humanitarian crisis with hundreds killed and entire villages displaced. The association noted that the attacks had persisted despite several peace efforts. The ADA acknowledged that the administration of Governor Ubasani initially brought some relief as displaced villagers began returning home. However, it warned that violence has returned in a highly coordinated manner, threatening to erase the progress made. The group made a series of urgent appeals, including the restoration of the Adara first-class chiefdom, the establishment of permanent security outposts, emergency relief for victims, and an independent investigation into the atrocities. A two-story building collapsed at 54 Cole Street near Cemetery bus stop in Oyigbo, Lagos earlier Monday morning, leaving one person dead and 26 others rescued. According to the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, a distress call was received at 12:20 a.m. and responders from the Sari Igamu Fire Station arrived within minutes to begin rescue operations. The structure, which had reportedly shown signs of distress, gave way while residents were inside. 15 people were initially pulled out alive with injuries and taken to the nearby hospitals, including the Federal Medical Center, Ebute Metta, and the General Hospital, Odan, Lagos Island. An updated report later confirmed one fatality and a total of 26 survivors as search and rescue efforts continue at the scene, involving multiple emergency agencies. Authorities say structural failure is suspected as a cause of the collapse, while investigations into ownership and compliance status are ongoing. The Lagos State government has once again appealed to residents to report weak or distressed buildings to avert similar incidents. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has rescued 26 trafficked children from an orphanage in Benue State and arrested its 60-year-old operator for alleged child trafficking, illegal adoption, and sale of minors. NAPTIP spokesperson Vincent Adekoye disclosed in Abuja on Sunday that the suspect, founder of the National Council of Child's Rights Advocates of Nigeria, was apprehended alongside a 34-year-old female accomplice. Adekoye said the raid also led to the recovery of trafficked children from orphanage homes in the FCT and Nasarawa State, with investigations on the way to trace 274 more missing children linked to the syndicate. He explained that the suspect allegedly exploited vulnerable families in crisis-hit Benue communities under a fake program called Back to School Project, deceitfully promising free education for children. NAPTIP's Director General, Binta Adamubello, described the findings as unbelievable and mind-boggling, vowing to sustain the nationwide crackdown on illegal orphanages and care homes engaged in child trafficking. Nigeria's humanitarian crisis is growing from displacement to hunger and deepening poverty. Experts warn that nearly 4 million children could die from severe malnutrition if the situation doesn't change soon. Trust TV's Beatrice Kuritsi reports from Maiduguri on the worsening impact of hunger in communities already torn by conflict. Take a look.
Across the Northeast, hunger has become an everyday reality. The United Nations says over 31 million people across Nigeria are food insecure, and most are here in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states. Food shortages, high prices, and the pullout of some international donors have deepened the crisis. For families that once relied on aid, survival now depends on luck and small acts of help from neighbors. Since the closure of their IDP camp months ago, people like Talatu Abdurrahman says every day feels like a battle to find food.
I have been looking for a place to treat my daughter for malnutrition, and we were lucky to finally find one. It's been very difficult, especially since my husband died after suffering from liver disease. We haven't eaten anything meaningful today. This morning, I had only 1,000 naira. I gave them 100 naira to buy bean cake and used the rest to buy cassava flour to prepare a meal. That's the only thing we'll eat today, and I don't know when we'll eat again until someone brings support. I've noticed that many women come from neighboring communities to access the food supplements. Food is really difficult for us here. My family and I survive on the little we can find. I usually go to the place where they grind corn to pick up the grains that fall from the machine. I select the good ones and cook them for my children. I also gather the corn chaff to sell so I can take care of our basic needs. That's the only way we survive because I don't have a husband anymore. It's just me and my children.
Some local organizations have taken over a few nutrition centers after foreign NGOs left, but health workers say the need is far greater than the help available.
Honestly, the number of malnutrition has risen since when the funding has stopped. As you can see, most of the people are, the catchment area is around us, Moromchi, 77 area, and all airport. So on daily basis, we can even admit more than 30 to 40 new admission. Some both mom and some cases. So what we appeal is that let the international organization be funding the malnutrition site.
Before anything moves, the issue of hunger and malnutrition must be taken care of, because studies cannot go on with hunger. This thing. Yes, productivity also cannot go on with hunger and this thing. Even peaceful coexistence also, yes, will not take place also if there's hunger and this thing. So these are the reality of life, that if with the withdrawal of this UN something or something of that, it means a gap is created.
For Talatu and many others, tomorrow is uncertain. They wait, hoping for food, medicine, and a reason to believe that this hunger won't last forever. Beatrice Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Now moving on to more stories. 30 months after the federal government reintroduced compressed natural gas (CNG) as another alternative fuel, progress across Nigeria remains uneven. While states like Lagos, Abuja, Kwara, and Benin are leading with new CNG-powered buses and refueling stations, many other parts of the country still lag behind. High conversion costs, limited infrastructure, and lingering safety concerns continue to slow adoption. As the government targets expansion to 30 states by 2025, the big question remains: can Nigeria's CNG dream truly take off? Trust TV's Noel Sampson completes the report.
The federal government's Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, PCNGI, has recorded significant progress, expanding conversion centers from just 7 in 2023 to 158 in 2024, a growth over 2,000%. So far, more than 100,000 vehicles have been converted to CNG or biofuel, with investments in gas value chain exceeding $200 million. An additional $500 million in private commitments was secured in early 2025. The government aims to reach 1 million vehicle conversions and establish 1,000 conversion centers by 2027, with CNG infrastructure in 30 states by the end of 2025. However, progress remains uneven due to limited refueling stations, inadequate infrastructure, high conversion costs ranging between 1.2 to 1.7 million naira, and continued safety and performance concerns. While PCNG officials were unavailable for comment, partner company Rolling Energy reaffirmed the government's commitment to nationwide expansion.
So the government has given us to hit up to if possible 1 million cars before the ending of the year. And I think the government has really tried its best by giving some stations, which are the private sector. And I think this has bring more achievement to the nation. You get me? And we are trying to bring more private sector, which can really assist. If you can see now, the government is giving us the materials. All the materials we're having here is from the government. So the government has already given us a target which can really hit before the ending of the year.
There are no official figures. Estimates suggest between 125,000 and 200,000 CNG-powered vehicles are currently in use across Nigeria as of late 2025. The government says it has converted over 1,000 vehicles already, with plans to reach 1 million by 2027. However, some vehicle owners in Abuja told Trust TV they have yet to make the switch and shared the reasons.
So unsafe to me because of my knowledge. Most of the car that they're converting is not being customized with it. So based on that, I don't think I find it good to use.
I'm trying to rush for some people. So let's go. Let's see them the way to take some people as sample. So after that, because we have been afraid that we don't want to get involved in such things. If it happens, insurance will not do anything for you. That does it.
Meanwhile, those who have converted their vehicles spoke about the experiences so far and what more they expect from the government.
I wish government to, will establish more CNG stations so that there will be availability of CNG in other stations. People are suffering of CNG truly.
So we just want federal government to improve on the CNG by making it a kind of smart CNG, so that the effectiveness will be there. A lot of people don't have to be sleeping in queue.
Experts say to accelerate adoption of CNG in Nigeria, the government must develop a carbon credit system, establish a robust gas transmission and distribution network, and expand both public awareness and access to refueling stations. Well, Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The ongoing measles rubella vaccination campaign in Adamawa is achieving significant success with impressive attendance and wide community acceptance. Stakeholders attribute this success to strong collaboration among health authorities, traditional institutions, and community-based groups. In particular, the Fathers for Good Health initiative has played a crucial role in mobilizing parents and caregivers. Trust TV's Gibson Sawadigo completes the report.
The loud cry of children who are receiving the measles rubella vaccination can be heard throughout Adamawa State. As one child tries to cope with the pain of the injection, another cries out as a needle pierces their skin. The vaccination campaign is organized by the federal and state governments in collaboration with UNICEF, WHO, and JAVI under the initiative Fathers for Good Health. This initiative works closely with ward heads, religious institutions, and schools to raise awareness among residents about the importance of immunization.
We have go around all our primary schools, our tertiary institutions, that's the secondary school we have in Adarawa, and we inform the head teachers or the principals. Let them write a letter telling the parents either to tick yes or no when they are children, when they agree to vaccinate. So all the principals, the headmasters give us their maximum cooperation, and they did that. And by the time our team visited their schools, we found no difficulties.
There is a high level of participation and awareness regarding this vaccination across Adamawa State as a result of strong coordination from the state's Primary Health Care Development Agency and technical support from the UNICEF.
One of the strategies we're also using is also these Fathers for Good Health, because the idea is that we are selecting fathers in their own community. So even if it's a distant community, you don't need to travel to go intimate people about the campaign. Those who reside there, the fathers who reside there, the mother. We also have another group called the Mama to Mama group. All these are community structures that are domiciled in some of these hard to reach places. So instead of us looking for people to come from the city to go do mobilization and engagement, we just have people on ground.
Wala Caroline, a volunteer student nurse, acting as a caregiver, shared that while managing crying children can be challenging, most parents are cooperative and recognize the importance of the vaccines.
Sometimes the way the children cry, holding them and making them understand that they need it, they need what they are being given to. So those are just the challenges.
For Muhammad Kasim, a father of 3, the decision to bring his children for vaccination stemmed from the success of previous vaccinations his children had received. Reported global surveillance for measles indicated 359,500 cases, with Nigeria experiencing thousands of suspected or reported measles cases. During recent outbreaks, estimated at 16,000 suspected cases in just the past half year. Gibson Soadgo, Trust TV News, Yola.
The Irigwe ethnic group in Basa local government area of Plateau State has held its annual cultural festival, bringing together hundreds of sons and daughters of the community. The event, which took place at the Polo Field in Jos, showcased the community's rich culture, tradition and history. Trust TV's Ado Musa, who was at the event, now reports.
Otu Irigwe, meaning Irigwe Day, is an annual festival that unites the Irigwe people, young and old, to celebrate their heritage and showcase their rich cultural traditions. The event drew various groups, dignitaries, and guests from within and outside the state, each contributing to the colorful display of Irigwe culture. The celebration featured a variety of performances, from traditional hunters to energetic dancers, all demonstrating the strength and beauty of Irigwe customs. Hunters opened the event with a captivating display, symbolizing a bravery and community protection. Next were the dancers, thrilling the audience with their lively steps and vibrant customs. Officials of Irigwe Development Association explained the significance of the festival.
The significance of this day is to bring to bear the norms of the Irigwe person, to before the people showcase activities that get to do with the lifestyle of the Irigwe man. So the Otu Irigwe is a day set aside specially for the Irigwe person to come showcase its cuisine, showcase its major means of livelihood, which is farming, showcase its dance, its costume, and then above all, promote its coexistence within brotherhood.
Other participants also expressed their excitement about the celebration.
You know, this is the day that we celebrate, remembering where we come from and where we're going to. So when you are celebrating your tradition or your culture, you showcase a lot of things. You can see a lot of dances happening. Everybody is jubilating because we remember our forefathers, the way they started, and we are building upon it. So Irigwe Day is very, very significant to every Irigwe son and daughter.
I feel joyous. I feel uplifted already, seeing my people jubilating, rejoicing. At least once in a year we celebrate and give God the glory for His grace and mercy upon our lives. We are joyous. Yeah, we're overexcited, seeing what God is doing in the land and is doing over our people here.
This year's edition, themed Rehabilitation of IDPs in Irigwe land, attracted government officials, traditional rulers, business leaders, and other dignitaries who came to support the cause and honor the Irigwe heritage. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. More news after the break. Many thanks for staying with us. In case you just joined in, this is News Hour on Trust TV. And now in business, the organized private sector of Nigeria has warned the National Assembly against passing amendments to the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund Act that could undermine the fund's independence and accountability. In a joint letter to the Senate President signed by the Directors General of MAN, Nasima, NECA, NASMI and NASI, the sector described the proposed amendments already passed for second reading as a move that could erode transparency, weaken governance and expose the fund to political interference. The Director General of NECA, Adewale Smart Oyerinde, reminded lawmakers that the Insurance Trust Fund was founded on a tripartite structure involving government, employers and labor in line with international labor organization conventions all ratified by Nigeria. He argued that the proposed changes, which could reduce employer and worker representation while expanding government control, directly contravene global labor standards designed to protect contributors and beneficiaries from political influence. Away from Nigeria, Cameroon's President Paul Biya has been declared winner of the October 12 presidential election, extending his more than 40 years in power. The country's Constitutional Council President Clement Atangana announced the result, saying Biya secured 53.66% of the votes, defeating his main challenger and former ally Issa Chiroma Bakari, who secured 35.19%. But the declaration sparked violent protests in several cities, including Douala, where security forces reportedly opened fire on demonstrators, leaving at least 4 people dead. In the northern city of Garoua, opposition supporters also took to the streets, accusing authorities of electoral fraud. Chiroma claimed on social media that security forces shot and killed civilians during the demonstrations. Human rights observers have condemned the government's response, warning that the crackdown could deepen political unrest. Meanwhile, the government says the election was monitored by over 5,000 local and international observers, though civil society groups reported irregularities, including ballot box stuffing and outdated voter rolls. Despite growing discontent, Biya's Cameroon People's Democratic Movement maintains a tight grip on power, buoyed by strong control of the security forces and state institutions. It's now time for sports updates with Kabir Lawal.
Nigeria's Flamingos sealed their place in the round of 16 at the ongoing FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup in Morocco with a commanding 4-0 victory over Samoa in Rabat. After suffering 1-4 defeat to Canada in their opening match and a narrow 0-1 loss to France, the Flamingos knew only a big win would secure qualification. Nigerians kept pressing, and in the 36th minute, the lively Ngoma Telecom outplaced our marker before crossing for Joseph to tap in a second of the night. Meanwhile, Flamingos will be facing Italy tomorrow at 8 p.m. Nigerian time, while Brazil will play China. United States of America will trade tackle Netherlands, and North Korea will face Morocco. Still on sport news, head coach of Benin Republic women's national team, Abdullahi Ozero, has described his side clash against Super Falcons of Nigeria as a valuable learning opportunity for his young squad, emphasizing that his players are still in the developmental stage. Reflecting on first leg encounter, which Nigeria won 2-0, the Benin coach expressed satisfaction with his team's fighting spirit despite the loss. The coach maintained that his players are under no pressure and will use the match as a stepping stone for growth. That's Sport News. I am Kabir Lawal.
And that's a wrap on News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms for more programs, news and documentaries. My name is Dorcas Yakubuzala. Good night.